Hello friends, Jordan Peele's Us is now in theaters, and I sent my doppelganger to sit down with the director, as well as stars Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke. This video does not contain spoilers, but if you've already seen the movie, then it will shed light on a lot of the mysteries and myths in the new film. Wait, what if I'm the doppelganger? You have knocked it out of the park yet again. No sophomore slump for Jordan Peele, it seems. Were you a little bit anxious following up an Oscar win with your last film with this one?
You know, I don't think anxious was the word. I was glowing, you know. Everything I ever wanted, which is the opportunity to make another movie. So, you know, I looked at some of my favorite directors' second features to kind of get hints of how to approach it. Pulp Fiction, Unbreakable, which I think is his third film, but you know what I mean. It counts. It basically came back down to this idea of make your favorite movie that you've never seen before.
What are you people?
It's us.
I had heard that Jordan made the cast watch horror films before you guys started shooting. Were any of those films really stick out to you? Anything that kind of influenced you in a bigger way?
Well, the idea of watching the horror films that Jordan gave us was to give us a shared vocabulary. He talked about wanting to be able to talk to us as though we were horror geeks like him.
For me, the main one was The Shining, and really just getting to see a family in this kind of scenario and seeing what was essentially a monster that had a lot of familiarity, but also seemed very foreign at the same time. Mainly The Shining helped me see how a family could function in this space. And that's what I carried into Us.
It was really about getting the things that had influenced him, the themes that he was interested in exploring, the aesthetics, you know, certain metaphoric executions, those kinds of things. Not really like, hey, scream like this, or, you know, hide like that.
Did you become a horror geek in the process of watching this movie?
No, thank you.
No.
No, I prefer to scare people than to be
Nice.
scared.
Definitely, I think that I was scared of Lupita the most. You know, just her movements and her physicality. You know, it was kind of like disturbing to see her all like that.
I mean, the scariest thing about Lupita for me in this is that I had to go into her dressing room to like talk to her or something, and like it just be us, and you walk in there, when she is the red character, she's fully in character, even when she's alone. And she was terrifying. You didn't want to look at her in the eyes. You didn't want to be like, I couldn't understand that line. You know, you're afraid you're going to die. She was an incredible partner for this film. I mean, she dug so deep, both emotionally and intellectually, stepped out of her comfort zone in what was really one of the most physically demanding roles I can imagine any actor taking on.
Be careful.
You have a voice as your doppelganger. How did you find that voice?
Well, it was inspired by this condition called spasmodic dysphonia.
Okay.
What happens is that your vocal cords involuntarily spasm, creating this odd sense of airflow. So I'd heard someone speaking with that condition, and I decided to look into it, and I worked with my ENT and a vocal therapist to be able to do it but keep my voice safe. And then I built off of that.
What was it like being able to play both the good guy and the bad guy in a movie like this?
Incredible. I mean, when I read the script, that was one of the things I was like, I get to work with Jordan twice in one movie? Yes, yes, yes. And I was so intrigued by that, so excited. And then I was like, oh God, I have to do 2 roles in the time it usually takes me to do 1.
It was challenging because we have to be able to understand another character. Like when we were playing our good selves, Jordan would make like a little mood like, oh, look at the bright side. But in our bad self, we had to like get like deep in emotions and like out of the box, like think outside.
Essentially, it gave me an opportunity to really distill 2 distinct point of views instead of playing a good guy and a bad guy. I never ever judged Abraham, not once. I never said he was a bad guy there to do bad things. He was just a guy finally getting a chance to live in the light. You know, Gabe gets to have health care, which manifests in his glasses. He gets to see, he gets to talk, he gets to express himself. Abraham doesn't. He's squinting, he's very, you know, tactile and has to like feel and be super precise and be a lot better of a listener than Gabe is. You know what I mean? Which makes him super powerful and dangerous. And all those things were just really great to distill.
It means like she's getting closer.
Who? The mirror girl?
You don't believe me.
Yeah, I have a pretty elaborate mythology of what's going on in this film, and the dilemma that comes up is how much of that do you tell? I wanted to give the audience enough to be able to have a good conversation about it, but I didn't want to give them so much that it stopped being scary, because I think when there are questions left and you know there's more to the story, your imagination is left to run wild.
Well, like with Get Out, there's a lot of seeds planted in this film that pay off later. How much did you put in for people to kind of unveil on their second, third viewings?
There's a lot. There's a lot. I'm sort of weaving those hints in different ways, and I would say this movie probably has twice the amount of Easter eggs and little treasures hidden here and there as Get Out.
And that's the thing with this Jordan Peele world, is that there are so many layered things, and you can pick up as many as you can, but then someone else will be like, that t-shirt is from blah, 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 you know? So that's a lot to do, but it's fun. You know, he treats the audience as smart as they are and gives them a lot of presence for being able to work through his world.
You mentioned Unbreakable before. Is it possible that these two films are connected, a la the way M. Night kind of did with his Glass trilogy?
Anything is possible.